Hello, good evening, everybody. I see that there are a couple of people here. I'm not sure how many of you are here for the session itself, but thanks for coming out. Today we're going to go and we're going to do a couple questions from Management 2026 Production and Operations Management. That's actually my major. All right. So the first question here is from a past paper, sample past paper. You may be familiar with it. So I would like if everybody could take some time to read through, because I don't want this to be just me speaking. Um, I'm going to be as interactive as possible. I want it to be as interactive as possible. Open up your mics and say what you think we should take into consideration. Tell me next steps. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, or I may ask you what's the reason behind doing something a certain way. So this one we know is based on the topic line balancing. So I'm going to read, and then I'm just going to give you like 3 minutes to draw the network diagram and calculate the cycle time. So let's go. A new facility in New Kingston is trying to set up an assembly line and has identified the various tasks and their relationship to each other as shown in the following table. They wish to produce 600 units per day, working 2 8-hour shifts. Um, Before we go any further, I'd encourage you to highlight the importance though. So the first part was honestly fluff. So we're really getting into information when they say the production of 600 units. I'm not sure. Can you see that? Is that too bright? Let me just do that. Say 600 units every day, and not only 8-hour shifts, but 2 8-hour shifts. So you have to remember that. It's 2 8 hours. See the tasks, preceding tasks. Those are the predecessors, also known as predecessors, and the time to perform. And we can see that the time that we use here is seconds. So please keep that in mind. That would be very important. So part one of the question asks us to draw a network diagram of precedence relationships. So in POM, I believe that you guys use activity on node. So that means that it's the diagram that has that a circle, A 30, B 25, for example. I believe that's what we will use in production and operations management. I did this course last semester, the first semester of first semester of my second year. So please forgive me if everything's not that fresh. Okay, so I believe you should have been able to at least reach halfway through drawing your network diagram. Is anybody almost finished or finished drawing the network diagram? Yes, no? Please tell me. Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. In my case, I take silence as yes. So let's work through. So we're drawing the network diagram. So I hope you have a table or have taken a picture of the question, because I'll be moving back and forth. I can't multitask while sharing screen. So let's draw. Part one of the question asks us to draw the network diagram. So that's what we're going to be doing first. Part one. So looking at the table, the first thing there is task A, and we realize that there's nothing before task A. If you look in the second column, you see like a dash. That means that there are no predecessors. So based on that reasoning, what we'll do first and foremost is for us to draw or start node. Let's start. And then we can start drawing our arrows. If you just go onto the table, you can see that A, B, C, and D have no predecessors. So we can just easily draw how many lines? 4? Yeah, 4 lines. So 4 lines. 1, no. 1, 2, 3, and lastly 4. So A. Could probably move that down a bit so you can see. Can see a little better. So it's A, and A says that it takes 20 seconds. So let's just write 20 seconds above that. Then we have B. B is 30 seconds. C, oh, sorry. Again. C is 25 seconds. And lastly, we have D, which is 10 seconds. Okay, good. Now E's predecessor is A. So that means that from A, we're going to draw a line. This is E, and that's 55 seconds. Then F has as its predecessors D, B, and C. So that's B, C. Well, let me draw it over. Copy this line shorter. And here. Okay, good. And that is F, and F has 30 seconds. And then we have G. G's predecessor is E. And that is 25 seconds. And then our last one is H. And then the question says that H's predecessors are F and G. So it's a line from F and a line from G. Great. That's 40 seconds. Great. So we finished drawing our network diagram. And then the last thing that we have to do for this is to draw our end node. So I can just use another black line here, change the color, and end. Well, take that out. That was just fluffy. And so that's it. We've drawn our network diagram. That's it for part 1 of the question. Now, part 2 of the question asks us to compute the required cycle time per unit in seconds. Before I move on, does anybody have any questions based on what I just did, please? Yeah, anybody, any questions?
No question.
All right, thank you. Appreciate the feedback. All right, so part two. We're required to calculate the cycle time. Um, Anybody want to tell me how we calculate cycle time, please?
That would be the production time of our required units, or yeah, the units are required to produce.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so part two, we're doing that. Finish the diagram. Oh, it's still in red. Okay, part two. So my friend just said cycle time is equal to, excuse my bad handwriting, production time per day divided by the output per day. Great. And this is just simply seeing that we know the formula, all we have to do is plug figures. The question had already outlined to us how many units they would like to produce per day and the amount of hours they have. So if you look back really, really quickly, it says here to us that they wanted, let me take that off, that they wanted 600 units per day, working 2 8-hour shifts. So let's write that. So production time, it says 8 hours, 600 units. Is this it? Can we go ahead? Is that what we're supposed to do?
That's not what we're supposed to do.
Why? And tell me what we should do.
Because it said 2 8-hour shifts, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the 8 times 2 to give you 16 hours. And it's important to note that it didn't say over a period of 2 days. So you wouldn't trouble the 600 units. So all you have to do is convert the 16 hours to seconds, just basically 16 times 60 squared, or you can say 16 times 60 times 60, or whichever suits you.
Fine.
And
That's it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Now stop your shine. Go on talk. That's it? Okay. So that's 16 hours. Just for everybody to follow. Let me just break it down a little bit. So this is 16 hours right here. But the question had asked us to calculate the cycle time in seconds. And that makes a lot of sense, because when we look back at the network diagram and the table that was given to us, the time for each activity was given to us in seconds. So it makes sense for us to calculate the cycle time in seconds as well. So converting the 16 hours to seconds, we know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. And then we also know that there's another 60 seconds in 1 minute. Okay, probably should have worked these out before in here. So for our numerator, we have 57,600 divided by 600. Of course, this is in seconds. So 57,000 divided by 600, and we get 96 seconds. Can somebody explain to me what this 96 means to us? And we know that it's a cycle time, but what are we going to do with this information?
use that to calculate our theoretical minimum number of workstations. And the cycle time also tells us that a particular work or a particular job cannot spend more than that time at the workstation.
Very good, very good. That's it. I probably should ask your name because you ever answer me. But yes, that's it. So as he just said to us, I'm sorry. Next time you answer, you can just tell me your name. When we're assigning workstations, then we know that the total amount of time when we add it up should not pass this 96 seconds right here. Good? All right. So that's it for part 2 of the question. And let's just go on to part 3. Part 3. I believe part 3 asks us now. So we did this, did this, did this. So part 3 is asking us to calculate the theoretical minimum number of workstations required to produce 600 units per day. Theoretical minimum. Okay. So theoretical minimum TM. Anybody wants to provide the formula for the theoretical minimum, please?
Ronaldo Webb. So it's a time for the task, the summation of time for the task over the cycle time.
Okay, thanks, Ronaldo. So that's the sum. We all know this little thing here. Sum of total task times divided by the cycle time. My bad. We could have calculated this from the table. We can use a table, or we can just use the numbers here. So just to ensure that everybody's with me. So to get the sum of the total task times, you can just easily go to the table and then you will sum all of these things right here. And when you add them, I got 235 seconds. Yeah, 235 seconds. So that's equal to 235 seconds. And then we know that our cycle time, because we just calculated that, is 96 seconds. That would cancel, the seconds cancel seconds, people. Then that is 235 divided by 96. And we get 2.45 workstations. So that's it, right? We've completed question number 3. Is this our answer?
That's not our answer.
Pardon?
That's not our answer.
Okay. What is our answer?
Our answer should be 3.
And why?
Because with theoretical number of workstations, you can't have a workstation being decimal. So you can't have 2.1 or 2.5 or 2.7 of a workstation. And you always round up. Even if it's 2.001, you round up.
All right, thanks. Thank you, Ronaldo. You're just taking away all my questions. So yeah, so as he rightly said just now, 2.0000102. If we got that for theoretical minimum, people, then we would always round up, because we can't have piece of a workstation. Imagine that the workstation is a circle. We can't have piece of our workstation. It's not functional. All right, so that's it. Rounding up. So we're going to, the theoretical minimum also tells us the most efficient use of workstations. So at this point, at 3 workstations, that's where we'll get our highest efficiency. If we go like a workstation or two up, then our efficiency will decrease. Okay, so part four. Part four. Um, part four asks us to balance this line using the most following task heuristic. So the most following task heuristic, or the one with the largest number, basically tells us that the workstations should be assigned based off of the number of tasks that follow each task. If you didn't really understand the English to that, then let's just do it right here. On another day, I would have inserted this column to the left, a little bit more, but we can work a little bit backwards for want of a better term. So right here, let me change the color. Not that important. So okay, good. So we have number following. Well, no, let's not do it here. Let's also do it right here. I hope everybody has this because I'm going to erase. I'm sorry, I didn't take that into consideration. So let me just hold on. Let me not erase. Yeah, doesn't matter. Let me erase. Okay, good. Let's just write down our tasks and then we'll see the amount of stuff following them. So task, and then number of activities following. Good. That's way busy. What do you mean? It's not that important. How about deep? Okay, good. So we have A, B, C, D, to H, E, F, G, H. That was the cycle time that I just erased. All right, good. So A, let's count the amount of activities that follow A. So we have A right here, so right here, that's A. So let's count. There's one here. So following this, A going across. We have our first task here, so that's E. Then we have another one there, so that makes that 2. And another one here that makes 3. So that means that 3 activities follow it. Let me erase this because I'm going to need it. So that's 3. It's 3. For B now, so we have B, F, then H. That's 2. C is F and H as well. D is F and H. Come on. D, that's E. We have G and H. Still another 2. F, we have only 1, just H. G, we have only 1, again. And H, nothing follows it. You can put a dash, or if you want, you can put 0. Okay, I believe that's clear, so we can just continue. So now we're going to assign workstations. Let me refresh my mind what the thing says. Yeah. let's do that. We're assigning workstations. That means that we're going to group the tasks together so that we know which workstation hosts what task. Based on the calculation that we just did for the theoretical minimum, we would have realized that the optimal amount of workstations is 3. Try your best to get everything into that 3, but if it turns out, well, let me just leave it there. Just try get it into the 3 here. Yeah, thanks. So anybody can look at this diagram and tell me how they would have assigned the task. I'll just draw. So anybody, please. Ready and waiting. Oh, yeah, man. Go on.
So since A, B, C, and D, I think, had no predecessors, and I think if you add those, it would not exceed the cycle time of 96. So you could just put those 4 into workstation 1.
Okay, thank you. So let's do that. Oop. I'm sorry. And you said that is workstation number 1. I think, I'm not sure if your lecturer is still Dr. Russell, but I believe she would also add the idle time here, right? Should put the idle time here. Could you confirm that, please? That's what you guys do? Put it right beside the workstation. Okay, bueno. When we add that, get what? 85? That looks very 85-ish. Yeah. So the idle time for everybody, idle time for each workstation per workstation is equal to the cycle time. Just like each token on the corner here, divided by the time that the activities sum in the workstation. All right, so right here, so when we add this up, 20, when you add 20, 30, 25, and 10, we get 85 people. 96 minus 85, we get 11 seconds. All right, I'm going to another. How else would you have assigned the others?
Okay, so task E and F cannot be completed unless the activity on workstation 1 would have been completed. So you wouldn't even look at G and H for now unless you complete E and F. To put E and F into workstation 2.
Bueno, that's right. And go ahead. The last one would be this and this, right?
Put them into one workstation since you want to work with the theoretical minimum.
Bueno. I hope everybody's following me, or is it just when I learn the class? No. Workstation number 2. What's that? 85. Another idle time. Please do this a little bit neater, people. And then workstation number 3. We have our idle time. Was that 65? Okay, 31. Okay, so that's it, guys. We have, that is number 4. So I'm not sure how the online exam goes, but back in the days when we used to do stuff, face to face and have paper and thing, we would have just drawn this on the same diagram. We wouldn't have reproduced the diagram, because that take time. Yeah. So that was the answer to part 4. Okay, and then now we have part 5. Part 5 is asking of us to calculate the actual efficiency of the balance obtained. All right. Efficiency. Efficiency. Let's just change this to 5. Baya. All right. So efficiency is calculated as the sum of the task times divided by Kira. Guys, that's straight, okay? That's straight. And so I'm not go through it. Divided by actual number of workstations times the cycle time. Efficiency is also, as you guys would have figured, a percentage. So we will multiply all of that by 100. Some of the task times had yielded 235 seconds. The actual amount of workstations used was 3 and then the cycle time was 96 seconds. I don't have to write that. And then times 100. I just want to pause here to say that in the event that you get a question and the amount of workstations that you used was, over the theoretical minimum. So for example, the theoretical minimum was 3, but you, when assigning your workstations in the diagram, you had used 4 different workstations, then please go ahead and use the same amount that you had used in the diagram. So for the scenario that I just gave, sorry about that. Put my phone on silent. All right, so sorry about that again. So following the scenario that I just gave, you had used 4 different workstations. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here, you would have put 4 because that's the actual amount. This is not asking us right here. Okay, I guess you're not following me because I'm using black. This right here is not. Oh my God, really? This right here, sorry about that, technical difficulties. This right here is not the theoretical minimum. That's the actual amount. So please take that into consideration. So yes. So this is back to 3, guys, because that's the amount that we use. And then when we calculated that, we would have gotten 81.60%. Pretty efficient system for the most part. 81.6. That's pretty good, I guess. Could be better, but we cannot go less than the amount. If we go less than the theoretical minimum, theoretical minimum tells us that it's the minimum amount. But if you would have wanted to test it out for yourself, then the efficiency would have gone down. We had used 2 workstations. In addition to that, then we would have something that we call a bottleneck. A bottleneck. So the bottleneck is basically when you have like a bag of stuff packed up. So it's waiting for the other workstation, but it can't move. we have given it too much work to do. Let me think of an illustration. Think of a factory and it has its assembly line and stuff going down the assembly line. I'm not sure if you've seen that in the movie, but things start packing up and then the machine starts to malfunction because it is producing more than the other workstation can manage at a time. So yeah, that's just a little bit of a side note. Moving on to part 6 of the question. Asks us to determine the total idle time of the system. We can do this 2 ways. Yeah, I'm sorry, am I forgetting something? Please go ahead.
Somebody type to the
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
chat. Ronaldo.
I'm not sure if it's my connection, but I'm not hearing. Okay, I guess that's a mistake. Let's move on. So now we're going to determine the total idle time. So as I was saying, I believe we can do this 2 ways, but what I would encourage you to do is to use a formula. Formula is pretty simple, people. It's pretty simple. Yeah. So at the time of this system, of the one that we came up with. So VI, and we're looking for the idle time. NC minus the sum of T. T, so that is where N is equal to the number of workstations C is, of course, your cycle time. And T is, the sum of T is the sum of your task times. Yeah. Adelante. So following that, so it's 3 times, what's that, 96 for cycle time, yeah? Minus the sum of T, 235. Is equal to that 53, 3, 6 is 18, 2, 9, 27, 28, yeah, 53 seconds. That's your idle time. So based on this, that's one way to calculate our idle time. Based on this 53 seconds, we can also scroll up back to our diagram and we can check our system. We will know that we would have allocated the workstations properly if the idle time that we calculated here using the formula is equal to the idle time that we would have calculated here by summing the idle time of each workstation. So we have 11 seconds for the first workstation, first idle time, another 11 seconds for the second one, and workstation number 3, 31 seconds. Basic math, 53.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, I was saying that you should revise the was the efficiency? Yeah, the efficiency.
Oh,
Somebody was
my
saying,
okay, sorry.
yeah, it should be multiplied by the largest cycle time.
The largest
So instead of
cycle time.
96, instead of 96, it would have been 85.
Um, 85, okay. From workstation number 1. That sounds.
R2 from
Let
workstation
me
1 and 2.
Okay, yeah. My bad. My bad. But thank you for pointing that out to me. So I'm sorry about that. My apologies. So when we do that, what we get 3 times 85. Yeah, eso me parece mejor. 21.16%. Thank you. Thank you for that correction. So yeah. So back to the idle time. So we have noticed that the idle time that we use using the formula matches is the one that we use when manually calculating. So that shows us that we did pretty well. We did well. We assigned the workstations properly, and I'm not sure how many marks this would give you. 2, 4, 6, 9, 11, 13 marks. Yeah. So I guess that's it. That's it for this question. I had another question in mind. I'm not sure if you guys are up to it. This one is based on the crossover chart. We can run this question for the 40 minutes that remain in this session.
Ready when you
All
are.
right. Okay. Thank you. All right. I don't think I need this, so I can just delete this node. And new one. All right. Vamos. All right. Wrong thing. Yeah, here we are. Question number 2. The fixed and variable costs for 3 potential manufacturing plant sites in Jamaica are shown. You guys can read the table. Pretty simple. Site number 1, 2, and 3, fixed costs per year, variable costs per year. So the question is asking us to construct a crossover chart and determine over what range of production each location is optimal. 8 marks. It's actually one of the easiest ways to get 8 marks. So let's go ahead. Okay, take a picture because I don't think I'm going back to the table. Take a picture, have fun, take a picture. Okay. Let's go. Okay. So where are we now? So first thing that we're going to do, guys, is that we're going to, well, let me start here. We know that a crossover chart would look something like this, and this. It will look something like that. Okay, that's what a crossover chart will look like. And this is actually pretty basic math. We know that at the point that each line intersects is the point. It is the point at which the functions are equal. That is to say that we know that this is line A, this is line B, this is line C. So we know that where lines A and C cross will give us something like that, A equals C. And we know at the point at which lines A and B cross, then it'll be looking something like that. So using that premise, we can find what we call the break-even point, And then we would know at which point we should select each site. So, okay, site number 1. So we have site number 1. So this equation will give us, we're using site number 1 and site number 2. Let me not use an equal sign. Okay, so the fixed cost for site number 1 per year is $500. And the variable cost is $11. $11. We know that variable costs change. Variable costs are based on the amount that you produce, right? So the question does not give us a variable, the amount that they want or a goal that they're working towards. So based on that, we can just free rein here. We can just free rein. So we can use X to represent that amount. And site 2, we're going to do the same, 1,000 plus 7x. Transposition, everybody. So, you know what? Let me do this. Take it slow. Minus 7x is plus, let me just put it plus 500, just so that everybody can follow, is equal to 1,000 plus 7x minus 7x. We know that this cancels, so that's plus 11 minus 7 is 4x is equal to 1,000. Well, I'm not going to do the same thing for this. I guess you all should follow. So x is equal to 125 units. So we know that the lines that we will draw for sites 1 and 2 will intersect at the quantity, at the x value, the value on the x-axis that is equal to 125 units. Now let's equate sites 2 and 3. Sites 2 and 3. Now that is like 1,000 plus 7x is equal to 1,700 plus 4x. Okay, we don't, so 3x is equal to 700. X is equal to, that's what, 2, was that 3.3. We know that this continues indefinitely, so we can just leave it there. All right, so we know this. We know all of that. So before we can even go ahead to draw our diagram, let me just start it though. We can go ahead to draw a diagram. We're going to do one more thing. We're going to equate each x amount to 0 so that we can know what our value is on the y-axis. So for site 1, we know that that y value is equal to 500 plus 11x, where x is equal to 0. Keep that in mind. 500 plus 11 times 0. We know that is just 500. I don't think I need to do the rest. You get the gist. So site 2 is equal to, what's site 2 again? 1,000. These are dollars. Let's dollars. This quantity down here. That's cost. And then last one, site 3, about 1,700 here. Okay, so these are y values. So where x is equal to 0, we will draw this. So first one, site 1, 500. So we're going to put 500 right here, so. And that, we're going to draw a line. We can do this arbitrarily. We don't need to really and truly measure stuff, but yeah. Site 2, we have 1,000, 1,000, that's a 0. Probably this was a little bit steep, Anyway. Go back. And then the last one now, site 3, 1,700. Supposed to be 700. My apologies. This is supposed to be a 7. Okay. So 233. I should have made this steeper. Cut this down a bit so you guys can see it better. Okay. Draw the blue line again. Draw the red line a little bit better. Excuse the double line, but boy, that's a mere fight me out today. And then green line. Nope. Okay. That's 1,700. So this is site 3. That's site 2, and that is site 1. So we know that sites 1 and 2 will intersect at the point at which x is equal to 125. So let's say that this is 100. This is 100 right here. And so we know that they intersect at 125. And then we know that sites 2 and 3, which would be the red line and the green line, intersect where x is equal to 233. Let's see what this is where it says 200. Call it 234 because I don't think we can have 0.3 of a unit. Okay. All right, so what do we do with this information now? Anybody has an idea?
You determine the location best. You can see that from 0 to 125 units. The best site would be site 1.
Why would you say site 1?
From 125 because that's the site between 0 to 125 units.
I beg to differ. Let's try this again. You're saying that you would choose site number 1. Remember that site number. Sorry, bro. Sorry. May I mix up the color then? Go on, talk. Yeah, you're right. I'm mixing up the colors and I did it myself. Go ahead. You're very right. Continue. So he said.
Yes, I was saying between 0 to 125 units.
125 units. We choose site number 1. Uh-huh. And then
above 125 to 234 units, you choose site 2.
we choose site number 3. Thank you so much, Ronaldo. So yeah, Ronaldo is right, because we're trying, naturally, we don't want to spend a lot of money. So we will choose a site that will have the lowest cost based on the amount that we're producing. So if we look here, between 0 and 125, we see that the blue line is actually at the bottom. So that means that it is providing us the lowest cost for the amount that we are producing. However, let's see if that makes any sense. Yeah, right here, so it's giving us the least amount of cost until here, until this point right here. So if you were supposed to be producing, let's say 100 units, and then we chose site number 3, that's the one with the green, that means that instead of paying what I assume to be like $800, we would have paid something up to like $1,702. So obviously the best choice is for us to choose the one that has the lowest cost. The same thing follows for if we wanted to produce something between 125 and 234. If we wanted to produce 200 units, we would have gone with site number 2, because here we can produce we can get 200 units for, let's say, $1,650 instead, and that's cheaper than producing it at either sites 1 or 3, because we'd be paying too much. We pay more for what we're getting. There's nothing extra. All of them are giving us the same quality of products. So choose the one that costs less, people. Choose that one. And I think we're done. It's past 7. And I must say thank you to all of you who we're here today. All the best on your exams. Thank you, Ronaldo, so much for your participation as well. Really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you as well for the session.
Kimani, we're done now, so can stop recording.